Hi Darren, you alright?
Yeah, afternoon, Andy.
Right, here we go. Right. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. First of all then, Darren, so injury-wise then, I know it's only a couple of days since we spoke at Southampton, but Deli Bashiru, how is he today?
Yeah, no, we feel Fizz is okay. He's trained today, so he's fine. Providing no reactions tomorrow, then yeah, he's fine to be part of the squad again.
And presumably Backinson is okay as well. He was just brought off because of the elements of the game.
Yeah, Tariq's perfectly fine as well. He's trained as well today, so pleased to announce that he's okay as well.
Is there an update on Byers being fit or not, and Palmer maybe as well?
Yeah, no, Byers, Palmer, and Malik, all decisions will be made tomorrow, really, on all three players, really, in terms of whether the game's too soon or whether they've come through and we feel all right with them. So all three of them decisions will be made tomorrow.
Because of the kind of the intensity of the week, are changes kind of inevitable then, so that you have as fresh an 11 out there as possible?
Yeah, possibly. And again, Andy, it all depends on the recovery of the players. We've got players here that can sustain and do 2 or 3 games a week. We've got players that, have proven over time that just physically can't get there. And it's no fault of their own. It's just the recoveries of the bodies. But at the moment, the group seems fine. We've come back and done all we can to recover them and turn them around, and we go again. And we look forward to the game tomorrow at Accrington.
No doubt a different type of opposition as well as standard. But what did you see in the Southampton game that maybe you can adapt and adopt for football in League One?
Yeah, no, it's a complete different game to what's at League One. The level of opposition, and there's a common theme in the Premier League that stays true from week to week. That sometimes those principles that we played on Wednesday night is here in League One, but there's other dynamics to League One that it's not in the Premier League really. So it's a complete different game that we're going to be faced with tomorrow, but it's a game that we have to be adaptable to, Andy. Take the good points out of what we did on Wednesday and make sure that we apply ourselves correctly in terms of it. The game on Wednesday was an enjoyable experience. I thought we worked extremely hard to try and win the match. It wasn't to be, so we quickly refocused, turned the page, and we get back to the league programme in terms of over the 2 cup matches that we've had, which is the game tomorrow. So there's 1 or 2 principles I feel we can take from the game tomorrow, but there's other aspects of the game that was played on Wednesday night that I don't think will be there tomorrow.
Essentially, against Accrington, are you expecting more of a scrap?
Possibly. I mean, Accrington at home, they're managed and coached by a wonderful manager. I've got the utmost respect for John. I really have, and I have done for many years. And I always warm to the opportunity of sitting with him and just talking with him. I think what him and Jimmy's done at Accrington, not just this season, over the years, has been phenomenal, really. So we expect a real difficult game, and a game where Accrington can get the ball down and play. They can mix it up, and they're very astute like that, really. So we expect that type of game tomorrow. And as I said, it's another game. I really feel, Andy, that if we're to get anything from, we're going to have to be at our level best, really. So I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow, but it's a different challenge.
Yeah, and if last season's match over there's anything to go by, you were up and seemingly coasting, and before you knew it, they changed things around, and it was quite a difficult end to the game.
Always difficult at Accrington because the close proximity of the fans to the pitch, the wonderful history that football ground has got, and it's a really wonderful football arena to go and play. So very quickly last season we went ahead really quickly. I think it was 3 goals to the good, but we ended up winning the game 3-2. But it wasn't. It was a more closely fought game, really, and we had to stand resilient. So we expect another difficult game tomorrow. Even though personnel's different in both teams, we expect a real difficult game.
Just a couple of other bits. Finally, there's been a lot of media this week from Tommy Spur, formerly of the Sheffield Wednesday parish, of course. There's the game this weekend, so that fans can help raise money for his lad Rio and the healthcare that he needs. How important is it that there's a good attendance for this one?
Yeah, absolutely. Over at the Keep Mode on Sunday, and it's a time for unity. It's a time again, Andy, where we as a football family, fans from all clubs, can come together and show their support for Tommy and his lovely son Rio. Really, so as much as you possible can turn out to show your support will be greatly appreciated, I'm sure, by Tommy and the whole extended family. And as I said, it's a time for football to come together as one and show our love and support. Over them, so that lives long in the memory of the fans. So it's a time for us all to come together and support him and his family. So as many as possible can get over there, then please do so.
Just finally, I noticed that you'd made quite a thing of the minute silence today at 11 o'clock. Now, clearly, we all understand why that was, but just from a practical perspective, why you decided to do that?
Yeah, we did it last year as well. Since I've been here, it's our way of showing our utmost respect. I mean, we can't, I can't signify enough to the players and the staff here, and it's something that we, as a football club and staff, we really come together to pay our respects, really. And they're never forgotten, and they're certainly not here, and we wanted to pay our respects. So we hold a 2-minute silence. We all gather in the centre of the pitch. We did it last year, and we did it now, academy and first team staff and players. And that was paid in the utmost respect today. So well done, everybody.
Indeed. Brilliant. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Cheers, Andy.
Good afternoon, Darren. How you doing?
Hiya, Joe. Yeah, good, thanks.
Good stuff. I know you touched on sort of George and the guys with Andy there, but I just wanted to ask about some of the other lads. Obviously Ben had his surgery coming up. I don't know if that's gone through or not. How's Cam and his concussion? Dennis, Akin, where are the rest of the guys at?
Yeah, so for those guys, obviously we know about Ben, and Ben's still waiting for his swelling to reduce, and then before we can sort of operate on him, which is the protocol for the injury that he's got. And then Dennis is working his way back. We think Dennis is weeks away now from joining back with the group. Akin is back with the group now, so it's really pleased. So he's back in with the group, which is great to have him back and him rubbing shoulders. So over the next few weeks and that, he'll tidy up his work and his feet work and his conditioning and his timing, his passes, his heading, all that, which he gets by being in with the group. And the other one would have been Cameron Dawson with his concussion protocol. He's trained over the last couple of days. We've had no reaction. Providing he's trained again today, providing he's had no reaction, then he'll be back with the squad going forward. So I think that brings us up to date with the injuries.
Brilliant. And I want to ask you sort of a more broader question, I suppose. You've got 2 years or so now properly under your belt at Wednesday. Where do you feel like the club is now? You said when you came in you wanted to make changes to the culture, changes sort of behind the scenes. How much progress do you think you've made in that sense since you arrived at the club? Yeah,
we felt we've made significant progress, but it's not just been. I don't like to think it's just me alone, Joe. It's been a joint effort by everybody. There's still work for me to do at this football club because, in my idea and in my mind, if I'm doing the work right and I'm doing it consistently well, then I'd like to think that I want to stay at this football club for a long time to come, because there's so much work to be done here, and bring back some wonderful times at this football club. But in order to do that, I think we've all got our parts to play in it. I told you before, one of my remits here is to develop and bring through some of our own young emerging talents, our own homegrown. I think that's massive for the football club. It's gone too long at this football club where we've not seen young emerging talent come through. We've drip fed some of them into some cup games and in and around the first team. There's a lot of them training in and around the first team, because I think by bringing them in the first team is getting them stronger, getting them understanding in terms of what we want from them. So that's another part to me in terms of what we want to try and do at this football club. But ultimately, in terms of where we are, we've made significant strides, but we don't feel that we're anywhere near to what we need to be, because we need to keep that continuity, that consistency going. But we're on track of doing that, but we have to continue doing what we're doing, and we'll see where this season takes us in getting another firm step in that right direction. But when I arrive to where the club's at now, and the consistency and the solidity that it's got more so now in terms of the footballing side, and the connection from all players and staff, and the group and the team cohesion, the fan base, we've worked a lot on the culture in terms of the fans staying with the team, and they've played a wonderful part in the team going goals down this season, coming back and winning games, and showing that level of consistency, and connecting the fans back with the team and the team back with the fans. The players are back out in the community now, showing their responsibilities. So it's connecting it all together, Joe, which I think is really, really important, and we need to continue that, and get even better in certain areas.
You mentioned there the community stuff that people are doing. I know you spend a lot of time in your office working on the football side of things, but do you also sort of get involved in the off-the-pitch stuff quite a lot as well?
Yeah, I want to do it. We're very much involved with our community scheme and getting players out in the community on a weekly basis, and that be for me as well. Obviously, we've got the month of December coming up where we pay our respects to the hospitals and go and visit some of the families and kids in the hospitals over the Christmas time, and that. So we've got all that coming up that will be paid with the utmost respect. But we wanted that this season. We wanted to get the group of players back out in the community and connecting back with our supporters, the fans, the younger fans, that pay their respects. And I think it's an important role that we as sort of professional footballers and staff members can have that impact in the community. So I'm pleased that we are doing that.
Brilliant. You mentioned before about youngsters coming through and your aim to get some more Wednesday youth into the first team. You had some guys on the bench the other night at Bailey, Rio, Pierce, David Aguantahoma as well. How good will that experience have been for them? Obviously they've done the Papa Johns, but to be in a proper senior game with the real big guns there, to be on the bus with Barry Bannon and Josh Winters and guys like that, how amazing must that experience have been?
Fantastic experiences that won't go amiss, Joe. Like you said, they've trained, they've built up for the game, they'd have been on the team bus travelling, they'd have saw all the pre-match hype, the tactical changes, the messages in the dressing room, us implementing that on the pitch, and witnessing it at first hand and being on the front line. So that for them will play a massive part with them, and all part of them developing. And those 3 or 4 that you've mentioned there are the 3 and 4 at the moment that are in the ascendancy really in terms of showing way in the academy, and why we wanted to include them and keep them in and around the first team. And I envisage this season that again, if they keep continuing the way they're going, they'll be in and around for the league games as well. I don't see no reason why. The message has been clear to them. The academy manager, Steve Aslam, knows that if ever there's a time for a younger player to get into our first team, if they're showing the right credentials, it's now, Joe. So we keep working. Obviously, they'll come in because they deserve to be in there. They won't come in on certain merit because they've got to be able to do the job and they've got to be able to handle it. but they're certainly working their way towards it.
And one of those Rio Shipston, where you put a really good performance in the FAU Cup the day I know you were there for that game. Are there talks going on with Rio about a first professional contract at Wednesday?
Yeah, we feel that with him. It's something that we feel with our younger players. You know, it's something that we feel that it's right to get your younger players, your better ones tied down, and why not? Because again, you know, when we're putting all this work into them, Joe, it's really important that, you know, we secure them, because we're putting our work into them for a reason, because we want to see them sort of come through and be a player and bless our first team, and for our home supporters to see one of their own. So all those kind of things really are all in hand. Yes, I was at the game last week. It was great to see them play against Burton. Really, really good to see them perform the way they did. And I thought they deserved the win. It came via penalties, but I thought they deserved the win. And, you know, we look forward, you know, to play Derby County in the next round, a Cat 1 club and team. So the level of opposition's gone up. But I'm really looking forward to them, seeing them perform again in another entertaining game, I'm sure.
Brilliant. Just lastly for me, a couple of good performances recently where you have used the bulk of your squad, you know, a lot of players who have got game time. How difficult is it for you now when you're picking a starting 11 in terms of who gets left out, who makes the cut?
What I like with it, Joe, is that certainly over the last 3 weeks, you could probably name my squad probably 12 or 14 players, but such has been the rotation of the group, that's probably gone to 18, 19 players now because of the performances of the players. And we've always spoken about the players all being on a level playing field and being ready for the opportunity. As I suppose the opportunity catches them and they're unprepared, and what we've seen over the last 2 or 3 weeks is players which have stepped in and performed really, really well, which is what I wanted. And they too have had a taster of it, really. So it means the group extends, it means the playing time, and it means that anybody at any time can get selected to play and perform. And that's the biggest thing what's come out of it with me, and the message is what I've given the group, because it's all as well talking about it, Joe, but when the opportunity comes, you've got to put them in. And as I said, you know, when we played against, I think it was Burton, we'd made probably 4 or 5 changes to the group, but we still got the same consistent performance and the result. And as I said, you know, we'll look at the condition of the group tomorrow, and we'll select a team that we feel's right to participate in the game and try and get a good result.
Brilliant. Thanks, Darren. I'll see you tomorrow.
Cheers, Joe.
Darren, how's it going?
Afternoon, Alex. You okay?
Yeah, not too bad. Long time no speak.
Good to see you.
And you? Yeah, just sort of following on really from what you were saying there about players, you know, spending time sort of in and out of the squad. As a manager, how much energy, how conscious are you of speaking to those players constantly, making sure those frustrations are channeled in the right way?
Yeah, on a daily basis. Just keep touching base with them, but keep the message consistent, really, Alex. And I think you know, we've not deviated away from the message from since when we came back in pre-season, and knowing where the squad would be at and the games. And as you've seen, Alex, you know, injuries have come in, rotations have happened, games are coming thick and fast. We've come off the real back of a real busy October coming into November. And sort of this is like almost like another sort of final game of that really busy period before we go into the 1 game weeks, really. So yeah, the message had to be consistent, individually and collectively as a group, and we've kept that, and we keep continuing that, really.
I want to ask about the 3 loan players. I think I asked a couple of months ago, and we weren't quite sure of the answer in terms of potential clauses to go back in January. Can you shed some light on the 3 lads? I think you said perhaps one of them had a recall clause.
Yeah, there's recall clauses, and there's always a recall clause on them because we always feel that for us and the club it's right to do so. I think that all of them have done really, really well and added to the group. You've seen us reduce the loans that we've had this season to last season, and just bring in the areas where we felt them. And as you can see, all three of them, we've used them really quite well, really, at the moment, and all three of them have been performing and will need to continue performing. So we're really pleased with them. Obviously, we've not had any discussions with their clubs yet because it's too early, and 24 hours in football is a long time. So, but once we have our sort of recruitment meetings and everything else, then we'll set the parameters in motions in speaking to the clubs and getting a sort of an idea where they see those players in terms of their own specific season, and if the players have got any significant part to play in that. But certainly where we are at the moment with them, we're really pleased with them.
Just for clarity, there are clauses in all three deals, is that right? Or?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, okay, great. In terms of transfers, I know you've been speaking, certainly after the unfortunate injury to Ben, sort of starting to look ahead maybe to January. What goes on in this period? I know you're busy with matches, you certainly have been over the last few weeks, but are you sort of having constant conversations and meetings with the recruitment team, and where you are sort of looking ahead to the winter window?
Yeah, what we do is the recruitment team kind of touches base with me, but they kind of leave me to let me get on with the team matters. But behind the scenes, all the information and data has been collated really, and we get to a point round about now, Alex, over the next 7 days, I would say, we start having meetings, because with it being a 1 game week, I can start sort of focusing on them in some of the afternoons / early evenings of sitting down and being detailed with our approach. Also, it gives you an assessment of where the squad's at, in terms of looking at the squad, and you kind of, in the next sort of 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, you get into the halfway point of the season, which again, you're able to analyse and look back at the halfway point of the season. So those kind of things are taken into perspective now, in terms of what's going on here now. What starts happening with my phone starts going incredibly busy, because there's agents, advisors, representatives of players ringing up, sort of drip feeding us potential targets that we should be looking for, or potential players that would want to come and be part of what we're trying to do here. So all that goes hand in hand now at this stage of the season. Things are starting to pick up, because within 6 weeks' time, it's a real busy time.
You may or may not come up against a former Wednesday player in Corredia Adoyin this weekend. Since you remember that deal was sort of on and off and on, then he ended up going on deadline day, didn't he? What are your sort of memories of him, and have you followed? I know he's off the back of an injury, but have you sort of followed how he's getting on, and how close were you, sort of umming and ahhing on whether he'd stay at Wednesday or whether you'd sell him?
Yeah, no, it was really close. But what we just thought was just the timing of everything, really. And a young player, we wanted him to go and get some game time. It's the right time for him to get some game time. And we felt it was right at the time, because in terms of where he was at the time, in terms of the strikers that we had here at the time, and him just playing. But we felt that under 23s football was no longer for him. He needed first team football, really. And he got the opportunity there. What I do remember him is got wonderful potential, huge potential, needs work on it, but got some great potential. Can do both aspects of the game with his back to goal and latching onto things, really. Got a wonderful strike on him, got a clean finish on him. So, he's got the attributes of being a real good number 9. But in order to bring those attributes to the front, obviously game time is absolutely crucial at the age that he is. And it's good to see him getting some game time there. He's had an injury. By all accounts, all reports, he could be back this weekend and involved for the game tomorrow. And it'll be good to see him back if he's back to full fitness. But as I said, that's a bit so I remember with him, and I'm pleased to see that he's getting his career going in the direction that we want him to go in.
Great stuff. Lastly from me, going to step away from Wednesday just a little bit. There's obviously a lot of talk around the World Cup that's coming up. sort of interested to hear your views as someone that's been in the game and is inside the game rather than the likes of us pontificating about it. What are your views? Should Qatar be holding a World Cup?
At this stage of the season? At this stage, Qatar can hold the World Cup by all means. It just feels a little bit strange to have it at this stage of the season. I think the biggest thing which has come out of it is the injuries, because the top two divisions have had to do something that they've never done before. It was really condense games in a short period of time and a quick turnaround. And by the looks of it, it's played a significant difference in terms of when you look at certain results. There's certain results where you've raised an eyebrow with, and there's certain players that have picked up injuries that looks like having the World Cup at this time has not gone down really well. So those are the things that you have to look at, but it's something that's been in place. But we always thought at this stage of the season was a little bit ludicrous to have it at this stage of the season, really. So I've got no problem with it being in Qatar. It's just the timing of it.
Is there potentially a knock-on effect for Sheffield Wednesday? Obviously, League One goes on, but just off the top of my head, will Championship clubs maybe that have had players involved, will they keep hold of players that might have been available for League One clubs on loan and all that sort of thing? What are the potential knock-on effects?
Definitely, yeah, because you don't know what state the players are going to come back in after the World Cup. Is tiredness and fatigue going to play another significant part in it? Why they may hold on to certain youngsters just in case to cover themselves, to keep that depth in their squad. Loss of form. There's so many aspects that they've got to take into consideration. So I suppose if we're targeting one or two, the door may be firmly closed until probably back end of the window before one or two's allowed to leave, just to assess the group, which for us, you could have gone a whole 3 or 4 weeks, without them, where you wanted to plan and prepare. So maybe certain targets that you've seen, you might have to switch tack and go elsewhere, really, just to make sure that it doesn't disrupt your momentum and keep your focus. But obviously we'll wait and see, because again, it's something new that we're all preparing for.
Interesting. Top man, thanks, Darren.
Thanks, Alex.
Hi, Darren. How are you?
Afternoon, Dom.
I wanted to ask about Jack Hunt. How's he doing?
Yeah, Jack Hunt trained over the last couple of days, and we think he's okay. He's trained again today. As I said, he had a little bit of a strain, but we feel he's up to level and up to speed, really. Probably a little bit sooner than expected, but he seems okay, because we was expecting him to start training sort of last week with us, probably at the start, not last week, coming up this week on Monday, but he's trained over the last couple of days and he's had no reaction, which is great news.
So Jack could be involved for you tomorrow? Yes,
yeah.
You mentioned before Malik. What is his injury?
His was just a little contact knocking in the game against Burton, and it's just been a matter of settling him down. He's had a couple of sessions over the last couple of days. It's just depending whether we feel it's settled down enough to for him to warrant to be involved or even start tomorrow.
Did you say it was his ankle, I think, after?
Yeah, a little knock on his ankle, yeah. He was in that game, really. And then, even though it didn't affect him in the game, it's like, 48 hours afterwards, he can stiffen up and just gets a bit sore, a little bit of bruising and that was the case.
Have you got any other knocks that we haven't sort of talked about already, or is the rest of the squad okay?
No, they're okay. Like I said, the ones we'll assess them tomorrow. And we'll see where it is. But I think everybody at the moment seems to be okay. From the Wednesday night's game, they've all come back in and reported back in, and they seem to be okay. And as I said, we've got another 24 hours, and we'll assess the squad again tomorrow before selecting the team.
Ryan Galvin's loan is coming to an end at Maidstone. Have you made a decision on what you're going to do with him?
Yeah, no, he's still there because I'll speak to the manager Hakan in terms of their Christmas program coming up. If Ryan is to return, great. He's returned because he would have had almost like 3 months with them, which would be good. Or we're happy for him. If they wanted to extend the loan through the month of December, then great, because he's playing football on the front line. He's playing week in, week out. So that's going to add to his game time, his match minutes, his strength and ability, decision making, all those things that the loan gives us for a young player, for Ryan. So I'll have a chat with their manager probably next week, and we'll see what's what.
I think he won their Player of the Month very recently, so he's been doing very well there. And have they actually said to you then that they'd like to keep him longer?
The last I spoke to the manager Hakan, he's just said Darren would like to keep him on. And what I'm pleased with is over that longer time, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, you see a difference in the player. And hopefully they've seen a difference in Ryan, because there's been continuity there. He's settled down. He's showing his potential. His family home is that way. And he's playing football at a level where we want him to play, because we feel at that age, like I spoke, about Caridia earlier in they go past that under 23s football and they need first team football. So it's been great to see Ryan out there getting that opportunity. Kieran Brennan's another one getting the opportunity at Swindon, and they're really, really important for us that they get that game time, which they are getting.
John Coleman said yesterday that he's watched Sheffield Wednesday 3 or 4 times this season, and he loves watching Sheffield Wednesday play. How nice is that to hear from your point of view?
Yeah, for me, for somebody of the ilk and longevity as John, to say that, are good words, are special words. Obviously, we know as managers we keep working with our teams, so to be recognised by one of your peers in the game and somebody that I look up to is nice to hear. Obviously, we go head to head again tomorrow, and I really look forward to him. John's teams are very equipped to give you problems. He's got some wonderful, talented individuals in there as a group that we've watched and seen, and they're dangerous, and we know how effective they can be at home. So we've got to be really well prepared for them tomorrow, Dom. And as I said to you, I'm looking forward to see John tomorrow. But I'm sure both our teams will go head to head, and it'll be an entertaining game tomorrow.
You've got the joint best defensive record away from home this season. How much pride does that give you?
Dom, it shows the work we've been doing. We spoke about areas to our game that we needed to improve from last season, and that's probably another significant area to our game that we have improved, but we'll have to continue improving. It's a mindset, it's a mentality, it's a whole group approach, not just individuals within it, because it's down to defenders, it's down to everybody. And that's an area that we felt we've had to improve on, and we have improved on, but we still need to continue getting better at it. So that's the message been to the group, and that's another area that we consistently keep working on in trying to be the best version that we can, Dom. So to get that at this stage of the season shows that we're doing something right, and we have to continue that.
Lastly, from me, Darren, you mentioned before that contract talks are going on with Rio Shipston. Are there any other youngsters that you're looking to tie down or in talks with right now?
There was 1 or 2 more from the technical board meeting. What we've done is I've left it down to our academy manager Steve Haslam to address those. What we've done is, over the back of this busy schedule that we've had, we'll come together as a staff next week, where we've got time in a week, and I'll be able to find out how those talks have gone on since the technical board meeting. But there's been 1 or 2 more, as well as Rio, that we've identified in terms of getting them tied down.
That's great. Thanks, Darren. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, Dom. See you there. Cheers.